loves, and welcome to the Rocky Mountain Crafter. Today I'm making a seasonal card using painted leaves. So this will be a autumn, fall, September, October card. So I'm pulling out some vellum and I am using my powder tool to powder that up on both sides. So I will be using some embossing ink and embossing powder to emboss this vellum. So I don't want any of my embossing powder to stick. I made the mistake of not doing both sides one time, and what a mess. All of the powder stuck to the other side and it was terrible. So I'm sure now to do both sides. Here I'm just using some Versamark to ink up the detailed images of that painted leaves set. So these are the details that go inside of the leaf. There is a solid image in this set, but I'm not using those today. And then I have this beautiful, wow, embossing powder called Fiery Fun. And it's this gorgeous pink sparkle. It's like not a bright pink. It's just this muted, beautiful pink sparkle. I don't know how else to put it, but it kind of comes out rose gold or has gold tones to it, as you can see when it's changing here. But it sparkles, it's pink, it's all the things. It's just gorgeous. And so once I have that all heat set, I'm using the coordinating dies for this set, and I am just using some yellow tack tape, the best ever crafting tape, to get those dies taped down. I reuse this yellow tape. You've seen me talk about this in the videos. I think it's called the best ever tape, and it's by Spellbinders. I use it over and over again. Anyways, here we just moved and I have a full-size Big Shot, but I could not find the plates for it. So I'm one at a time doing these through my little sidekick. What a pain that was, but it is what it is. Crafters do what they got to do to craft because, you know, it's our passion. So I did them one at a time, and you know what? I survived. So this will be some fuel for me to find those embossing plates for the Big Shot. Anyhow, so once I have those all die cut out, now I have the paper that I'm going to use for these leaves. So I'm just doing a solid die underneath. So I'm just die cutting a solid image from those leaves, from that pattern paper in the leaves, and I'm putting the vellum over top of it just to give it a more muted look. So here I've got all three of those leaves cut out. These pattern papers I'm using are also by Catherine Pooler. The plaid and the pink there, the two plaids, are Sweet and Spooky 6x6, and I use another one for my background afterwards from Harvest Festival pattern paper pack. Here I'm just putting some sticky dots onto the back of the vellum. Now these sticky dots, they don't show through. I'd be sure to put them in spots where the embossing powder is also, but in my experience on just pure white plain vellum, they do not show at all. So that's why I chose to use these sticky dots. And here I'm putting that detailed image layer on the vellum over top of the solid cutout from the pattern paper leaves, and look at the beautiful leaves I have there. Now I'm just taking a piece of cardstock and cutting a card front. So this is going to be a slimline card. So a slimline card is 4 1/4 by 3 3/4. So that's what I'm cutting here. And then I'm laying out those leaves in a pattern that I think I like, trying to figure out a background that I want. What background patterned paper do I want? And I didn't actually like either of these. They're great choices. They might be what you would have chose, but I liked this other dark burgundy one with the dots on it. I just thought that it made those leaves pop. It didn't take away from them. It added to them, if anything. And yeah, it was the leaves. It's the leaves that I want to show, except I have a dilemma. My dilemma is I'm making a slimline card and these pieces of paper are only 6x6. So what's a girl to do? Well, I take some of that best ever craft tape and I tape the front of those papers because it's not going to rip the pattern off after. And I take my card front and I just trim this down to size. Now, this particular patterned paper, it has a pattern on it that is quite random. If you had something not random like lines or something, you may not be able to match up that I might be able to catch that there's a seam. But because this is a random pattern that I'm using here of the dots, the eye doesn't catch at all that there's a seam behind the white card front panel. So then I take a piece of just regular tape, just Scotch tape, and I tape the back right there. And that's to keep it together while I glue my card front onto it. And that's what I'm doing here, is just making sure that it looks good. There's a nice even border all the way around it. And then I take my ATG gun and I put that all the way around. Now, I've laid out the leaves here just to see if I like it. I love it, actually. True story. Love it. This set is part of last year's fall release from Catherine Pooler, and it's called Give Thanks Sentiments. And I think that it's perfect, that thinking of you. The give thanks also would have went great in that space, but I'm going to use the thinking of you today. And I just love the pink, and for like maybe who knows, some girly friend or mom or sister or somebody thinking of you. I just love that, the pink, and I love pink. I love pink. If you know me, you know I love pink. Anyways, now I'm taking my precision press by We Are Memory Keepers, and I am just putting my sentiment into that and inking it up in Merlot by Catherine Pooler. And I do this twice. The first time I did notice it was a little bit blotchy, so I did it a second time and it turned out absolutely perfect. It's just gorgeous. And it just fits nicely in this little spot, right like it's meant for it, right around these leaves. So here I'm taking the leaves and laying them back out on the card, making sure I still love it. I still do. It's pink. Who could not love that? And I'm getting ahead of myself here. Now I've pulled out the Mazatlan Sequin mix by Catherine Pooler, and I haven't even glued the leaves on yet, but I've already decided I want sequins on here. So I'm taking some foam tape and just popping these leaves up just to give the card some dimension. And I do that to the backs of all three cards. You could lay a couple of them flat and only pop up one, or you could have some popped up higher. You could use different sizes of dimension, double up on the dimension. I just did the same size dimension on all three. And then I'm taking that Mazatlan Sequin mix, and oh, this sequin mix is so beautiful. It has such a nice soft, it's just comforting to look at. Why? It has pink and gold in it, of course. It's pink and gold and some like copper, like brownish copper colored. And there's some clear ones in here. It's just a beautiful sequin mix. It suits this card absolutely to a T. And I'm just taking some craft glue that will dry clear and gluing those down in place. And after I have those glued down, then I need to make a card base. So here I'm just finishing off gluing those down and putting away that beautiful sequin mix. And then I go into, that's Mazatlan, in case you were wondering, putting this onto the card base. So I'm using that same tacky glue for the card front because I wanted to make sure that it was absolutely perfect. I left just a very thin white line around it, and so I wanted to have some wiggle room afterwards. So I used liquid glue for that reason on the back of this card front panel. And that's the card, you guys. I just love how this turned out. Look at that. Look at that sparkle of those details on the leaves from that Fiery Fun Wow embossing powder. It's just beautiful. I am the Rocky Mountain Crafter, and you can find me on Facebook, YouTube.com, and Instagram. If you like this video, please do subscribe. Take care and have a lovely week. Bye-bye.